Hello, my name is Melissa Burke, and I'm going to be talking to you today about innovative technology, specifically about teaching students to use ChatGPT. As you may already be aware, students are using generative artificial intelligence, or AI, such as ChatGPT, Bard, or Perplexity AI to help them with assignments. Since we know that our students are using AI, we believe that it is the best practice to teach them to use AI effectively and ethically. According to Ethan Malik, he is a professor from the University of Pennsylvania. Just using AI will teach you how to use AI. So let's not be scared to try it. For this training, our focus will be on using ChatGPT specifically. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence tool developed by AI and is designed to facilitate interactive and dynamic conversations, making it a useful resource for education. ChatGPT has a free version and a fee-based version. This training will focus on the free version, since in my experience, most students are using the free version. ChatGPT is primarily a web-based application accessible via web browsers. API access is available for integration into other platforms and custom applications. ChatGPT also caters to diverse learning styles by providing textual information back. So you can give it specific prompts, and then it can interact with you using Q&A or question and answer style. It can also generate problem sets or questions, and it can simulate real-life scenarios. As to whether it is creative or if it has a problem-solving or higher order thinking skills, it does in fact do that. So ChatGPT is going to encourage creativity through scenario exploration and diverse responses. It also promotes problem solving by providing detailed answers and explanations, and it can prompt critical thinking and deeper inquiry, which requires higher order thinking skills. This versatility will support visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners. And according to the Teaching and Learning Center at the University of Wisconsin, it is important that educators are teaching students about using generative AI like ChatGPT, since they will need to participate in the real world, where we are finding a growing dependence on artificial intelligence. ChatGPT encourages creativity through scenario exploration and diverse responses. It promotes problem solving by providing detailed answers and explanations. And in education, instructors can use ChatGPT to help students with unlocking those creative and thinking skills by having students analyze that information that was retrieved from ChatGPT or other generative AI tools. When designing a lesson that you're using ChatGPT or other generative AI tools, you should be sure that you're using the resource supports that are going to support that lesson goal. At Cecil College, where I teach, one of our general education requirements is to, quote, select and ethically use current and emerging technologies effectively to acquire, organize, analyze, produce, and share information, end quote. As for the purposes of the anatomy and physiology courses that I teach, students should be also able to evaluate and analyze the structures and functions of the cardiovascular system. In my introduction that I would do for this lesson with the students, I would actually give a little survey. Have they used ChatGPT, and also to see what do they already know about the cardiovascular system. And then my classroom is a flipped classroom style, where students are going to watch video lectures at home, take notes, and then we complete discussion and activities within the classroom. For this particular activity, the students would be asked to use ChatGPT to help them write a real-life case study for their cardiovascular patients. Students within their collaborative groups would continue to ask the generative AI to update, change, and edit the case study until they have what they feel is the very best version that they can get. And then they will explore using traditional research methods, alternative diagnoses, and treatment options. Groups would compare ChatGPT's suggestions with textbook knowledge and discuss any discrepancies or additional insights. Students would work in groups to create a report or presentation that is going to analyze that case study. They could use tools like Padlet to compile and present their findings. And then, as a large group, we will discuss the ethical considerations of using ChatGPT for those assignments within the medical research field. As a homework assignment, students would then be assigned to be in the for or the against group using AI in medical education and practice to debate during the next class. And then finally, students would be asked to write a short reflection on the activity and what they really gathered from it. So why don't we move on to our ChatGPT technology demonstration. So let me get up a browser. So here is my browser. I've already gone to ChatGPT. So I'm going to just use a simple prompt here where I'm just probably what the students would post in, which would be write a case study on the cardiovascular system. And you can see that there are other options here, like you can ask it to write an email, suggest fun activities, plan a trip, or even help me study. So here is our case study that we're going to get. And this case study is about John Doe. He's a 58-year-old male. And you can see that there's going to be the vital signs, what did we gather from the physical examination, what tests did we perform, and what were those results. So I've actually run this one a few times, so I think that ChatGPT probably knows what I'm looking for. Every response will not be like this. It is pretty unique. But what I'm seeing here is that this is a pretty typical sort of case study. I don't know the genealogy of this particular male, but John Doe is kind of a pretty generic name. So I may want to ask for this to be a more diverse case study so we can add in a little bit of diversity, as well as I think that I would like my students to be able to, connect with this patient a little bit more. So could you please edit the case study to be a more diverse patient who is college aged? And you'll notice that within my response to ChatGPT, I did use the words please in there, and often I will also say thank you. I do that because I really would like to treat ChatGPT as a person, because we're having a conversation. It's kind of a back and forth. And so that's really important that you do. And also I've noticed that I get better responses when I use my manners, like please and thank you. Now we can continue through this and do it a few more times, but in being aware of our limited time together, I do want to just point out a couple of these particular options here. So first, if we have a student who is needing some accessibility, you can actually have ChatGPT to read aloud. And you would just click that button.
Cardiovascular system.
And that would allow us to read aloud. You also can copy the text and then paste it into another location. You can give it a bad response if you didn't like what it did, and you can ask it to regenerate. So I'm going to click that regenerate button. And what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and regenerate. So it may make some minor adjustments. The regenerate button is not always really effective because there's not large adjustments that are made. Now, again, for the purposes of this assignment, what we would ask our students to do is that they would actually be evaluating this case study to make sure that it makes sense. Were there any errors made? Does the amount of aspirin actually match to the patient, as well as their weight and height and all of that? And were beta blockers a good choice, and why? So we can also, so you can see here that after you ask for a regeneration, it will ask you if it's better, worse, or the same. I would actually say that that one's probably the same. And you can flip between the two and look at both of them if you so choose. As well as we may say, maybe we want to update this assignment a little bit. Maybe we've pulled the case study and we really like it, but we want to get some question and answers for our students to answer. So please write questions for students to answer about this case study. And the more information you give the generative AI, the better results you're going to get. So you may want to be specific about what like range are your students? Is this a first year anatomy and physiology class like mine is? Is it a medical school class? And there will be some changes and updates to the responses based on that. And so this is how we use ChatGPT. Over here on the left, it's actually going to keep that information for you. So you have some choices of, you can actually share it out, you can rename it, you can delete it, and you can also archive it out. So that is our ChatGPT demonstration. And does anybody have any questions for me? I really hope that you found this presentation worthwhile to you and your practice as an educator. Here are other references. And I'm also available at mburke@cecil.edu with any additional questions. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day.